Good evening, esports insomniacs. Welcome back to ESN Late Night. It is Sunday, October 18th. I am your host, Joshua Riley, joined here tonight by Michael Vickroy. Mike, how you doing, man?
I can't complain. It's Sunday night. The event's finally wrapped up. No more AW, boys. No more AW.
Yeah, myself and the rest of the team at ESN who live tweet events are extremely excited. Obviously, there's been a lot of hate around Advanced Warfare. As far as not being fun to watch, not being fun to play. So it's kind of nice to be over with tweeting. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a nice event. There were some good games. I enjoyed watching it. Um, but yeah, I'm happy it's over. There is a lot to talk about though.
Yeah, the event overall, I think, went pretty well as a farewell to Advanced Warfare. Of course, everybody knows Optic took it, but we're going to go into a little bit more details on how they got there.
Yeah, we sure are, guys. So what we're gonna do basically is we're gonna start and talk about mainly just today's action. We'll start with Optic Gaming, obviously, and go through their run throughout today. Discuss what happened, some of their games, and then we'll go through some of the others throughout the day and talk about other storylines that happened. Real quick, guys. Obviously, most of you know by now if you're just finding out. Obviously, FaZe wasn't in the finals. I know everyone expected them to be, but Denial took them out earlier in the day, so that'll be one of the storylines we actually touch on. But to get started, Optic Gaming started their day off today in the winners bracket finals, going up against Elevate. And this was actually a pretty good series overall, if we're being honest. There was a while there where I wasn't too sure if Optic Gaming was going to pull it out. So they started on Drift Hardpoint. Optic Gaming was, going back and forth for a bit, and they had a lead for a bit. And Elevate ended up coming out and winning by 4 seconds. 4 seconds. I love those close hardpoint games, and that's almost why COD is fun to watch sometimes.
Yeah,
One of the only reasons.
Hardpoint's the best thing that's happened to COD in quite some time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And again, like I said, it was so close, and it was just so enjoyable to watch. After that, Optic Gaming came through and won a 6-4 S&D on Biolab over Elevate. But then what was really surprising is Elevate was able to win a comeback uplink 13-5. Obviously, Optic may not be so hot at comeback uplink. I mean, it's kind of known that they don't always perform so hot on that map anymore. But it was still shocking that they won by 7 points. That's a decent margin there, and it put them up 2-1 in the series. Elevate, that is. So Optic was getting a little bit close to not being in the tournament much longer.
Well, yeah, they still would have dropped down. Could have saw them back, but
Oh, of course.
yeah. That whole series, though. Outside of the uplink, was relatively close. One of the searches I believe Optic ran away with, but they played 6 maps, I believe. 4 of them could have went either way.
Yeah, there was some really close ones there. Once we got towards the end, though, the last 3 maps were really a takeaway. Optic Gaming won the hard point by like 38, 40 points. They won the S&D on Riot rather simply. It was a 6-2 win. It wasn't really even close. And then, big point to note on that, Karma is a god with a sniper. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get back to that later. And Uplink Detroit, they took 9-7. It was a little bit of a closer game. There's a lot of back and forth, but there was some really nice objective play by Optic overall. They really came through and were able to do it on that one. As far as back to the SD ride, I want to talk about Karma Snipe. I have not seen such a dirty sniper play in Call of Duty competitive in a long time. I mean, that was like a beautiful, perfect no scope. I'm talking like phase montage style no scope. You get to watch it, Mike?
Nah, at that point, I was not able to watch it. I had stuff I had to take care of today. Just so happened I happened to be scrolling through Twitter at that time, and I saw it blow up, but didn't actually get to watch it myself.
Oh man, it was such a good play. I actually didn't watch it live either. I saw the replay of it, and I watched it probably 100 times. It was just so good. I kept watching. I couldn't stop myself. Real quick before we keep going on in discussion, guys in the chat, comment on what we're talking about. We'll kind of read some of your thoughts as we go through. If you have any points you want to bring up for what we're talking about, include that as well, and we'll kind of go from there. Also, if we talk about game and there was a surprise that you wanted to mention or something big in it, let us know in the chat and we'll read through. Chat interaction is a big part of the show. So, Anything else on that series, Mike, that was really big to you? I mean, it was Optic Gaming versus Elevate. There wasn't really anything too outstandish to me besides the Karma Snipe. Was there anything else that really stood out for you?
I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the series, just pieces here and there. But I mean, coming into it, you know, having watched Elevate played previously in the event, I thought if there was somebody that was going to knock Optic down, it had to be Elevate. Um, you know, they were up 2-1 at one point, I believe you said.
Yeah.
And then just gave Optic 3 games in a row. At that point, I didn't see Optic losing to anybody at the rest of the event.
Yeah, it's one of those things too, right? I mean, Elevate is a strong team, and even coming into the event, they were considered one of the best in the game,
Agreed.
which was surprising because Elevate, when you think of Elevate as an organization, you don't instantly click that they're a top team. And even like what I was talking about predictions in the beginning of the week on Thursday, sorry. I was like, they might do all right. They'll make it out of pool play, but I did not expect them to make top three at all. But they have a really solid roster. They did anyway. I'm sure there'll be changes coming considering the 18 rule and all that going forward for Black Ops 3. But that's another discussion. But yeah, I'm excited to see what that org's going to do going into Black Ops 3 because, I mean, they've had such a good end of the season for AW. So
No, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the next 3 weeks, guys, is going to be absolutely insane. I don't see any roster staying the same outside of one, and that's Optic.
Oh, definitely. Um, we'll have a bunch of shows coming up in the coming weeks talking about roster changes, predictions for it, all that kind of stuff. But it'll kind of be later in the week. We'll be announcing topics and guests and things like that for a lot of those discussions. But yeah, I don't think Optic will change, but everyone else is probably gonna have some changes coming. So it'll be a fun time for the Call of Duty community, that's for sure. Sorry, Mike.
Said it always is.
Yeah, that's true. I think everyone loves Roster Mania. Even everyone who complains about it even loves it.
Except for the trolls out there. Please, no trolls, guys. No trolling when you're leaving a team or being dropped this time, guys.
Yeah, Fears has
done it
gotten
quite
me
a few
probably like
times.
7 times over the past 3 or 4 years since I've started tweeting roster changes. I'm pretty sure he's caught me at least 4 times. Then that guy gets me all the time. I don't know why. Like I should know by now, but you know.
Yep.
Aaron Schiff Jameson just asked on Twitter if we can give some thoughts on roster changes coming forward. But like I said, we'll discuss a lot of it later.
Yeah, it's a little bit too early just to start speculating because that's all it would be at this point. It's just 100% us guessing what we think is going to happen.
I'll tell you what. Watch Twitter over the next few days and see who's hanging out with who, and it'll kind of start framing itself together.
You'll start putting it together, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure official announcements probably won't start being made for the next few days. I would imagine no one would be announced until at least Wednesday at the earliest. But again, maybe changes will happen tonight. Who knows? Wouldn't be the first time.
It would not be.
So let's move on to the grand finals. Let's talk about that real quick. Optic Gaming versus Denial. I'm going to read through all the scores from the games real quick and talk with you guys. The biggest surprise for me was definitely this first map. Retreat Hardpoint. Optic Gaming is known for going off on it. They barely ever lose it, and Formal always goes hard. I don't know what happened. Formal didn't have a good start. I mean, obviously, he was still playing well, but he wasn't positive. He wasn't really doing great. And a fun fact, no one on the Optic Gaming team was positive on that one, on that map.
I may be mistaken, but like everybody in Elevate had like 35 plus kills, right, or something like that.
Yeah, Elevate was doing a good job of Denial. Denial was doing a good job.
I'm sorry, Denial, guys. Sorry. Yeah.
Hugh was going off. He was on like a 7 or 8 kill streak for a while there.
It brought it back completely on that one hill alone. He got like I think 6 or 7, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. In that hill towards the end of the rotation there, and it was really cool to see. I love seeing Hugh drop 44 kills. Yeah. Hemp dropped 44. Yeah. It was it was a fun game for sure, and that was a surprise. No one expects Optic Gaming to lose that. So I'm going to read through the scores, like I said. Hardpoint Retreat was 207 to 179 for Denial. Then we had Recovery S&D go 6-4 for Optic Gaming. Uplink Detroit went 8-7 in Optic Gaming's favor. Hardpoint Compound went 232 to 209 for Optic. And then Optic took Solar S&D to win the series and the event 6-3 over Denial.
Yeah, I mean, when that match started, everybody's tweeting out, Denial, they can take this first map, they have a chance. This is the most important map of the whole tournament. They did it. And momentum's a huge thing. Unfortunately, that was the end of it. Taking that first map, it's hard to come back in this game regardless. Right now, Optic, I mean, you can't call them anything but the best team in the game currently because they won. So, I mean, winning the first map's great, but you got to keep that going. You can't let your guard down for even one map because they'll take it back real fast and just finish it up.
Agreed. Guys in the chat, what was the most, what was the biggest play in the grand finals for you guys? What did you enjoy watching the most? What do you think was the best? Was there anything surprising to you in that series? Let us know. I was worried there, to be honest with you, in the S&Ds especially, because all weekend long, right, Optic would get ahead, and then they'd lose 3 or 4 rounds in a row, and everyone would get really nervous that they were going to pull a full sale again.
Yeah, no full sale.
Yeah, everyone was tweeting hashtag no full sale or hashtag full sale, whatever side you're on, of course, if you're green wall or not. But yeah, Payne actually made up a good point. He said Karma's sniping all weekend was amazing. He hit some really god snipes, and he was saying in the interview that Karma wanted to use a sniper, that he wanted to do that in S&D because he felt more comfortable doing that. And obviously, if that's what your strengths are, you should play around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was big for sure. I think everyone loved it. It was probably the highlight of the event, if we're being honest, as far as Optic Gaming goes.
Yeah, when they interviewed Krim before the match even started, they brought up Karma sniping. He's like, it lets me do what I want to do. Him being successful at that, it's great, it's fantastic. He's getting kills, he's making plays, but people don't pay attention to what that opens up for his teammates. Mm-hmm. And now everybody has to take into consideration. All right, so this is covered with a sniper. Krim's probably just running around. He's going to kill everybody. So the stuff like that, even if he's not getting the kills, open stuff up for his team.
Yeah, Kermit said as well. The only big thing was them losing retreat hardpoint. But again, it didn't change the outcome, which he also mentioned. So, like I said, surprising, yes. Did it make an impact? No, not really. I was worried that Optic Gaming weren't going to be able to keep it together. Denial came off a big win from against Elevate, and then they got the first map. At that point in my head, I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll win the S&D, and then maybe they could pull out an uplink and get ahead. And I started saying to myself, could Denial win the first best of 7? I think it was definitely possible. But Optic Gaming was able to come back and really play cool, calm, and collected, and they were able to take it out. So I was surprised. I was a little worried there, but they're all veterans, and they were able to do so.
Yeah, and it's always congratulations to Optic. Denial, like you said, was looking strong coming off the win versus Elevate. To be honest with you, that should have been a 4-0 sweep. They should have had the hardpoint retreat. I think they lost it by like 10 seconds, I believe. But they had the momentum coming in. They took that first map, like we said, and then I guess just the experience with Optic took over there.
And you can't fault Denial for that. A lot of them are still young players, and most of them, for that matter, just got their name in this game. Huke, going before Advanced Warfare came out, I don't think anyone would have even been talking about Huke, or majority of people wouldn't even know who the hell he was, if we're being honest. And he came out at the beginning of the year with Carnage, played very strong, and from there he just got his way and kept moving up. I wish the kid would have won an event this year. I really do. That would have been really nice for him and all amateur players, because it could say in a year's time you can go from being T24 to first place, and obviously that's everyone's dream, right? Being able to go from a low tier, not low tier, a mid-range amateur player to one of the best in the game and winning the final event of the year. So yeah, like I said, wish it would have happened.
Yeah, I mean, especially, we're not going to talk about it tonight, but, we'll probably end up saying goodbye to him for a few years, at least on the competitive front. So, it would have been nice for him to get that bon voyage at the top there.
So Kermit just said, Huke was tweeting the Sean Abner last year. Nothing against Sean, but he was. I'm guessing he's saying, for teams or for scrims or whatnot, and that's one of the running jokes in the community. Amateur players are always tweeting the Sean Abner to get retweets for scrims or free agents or whatnot. That's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
that.
that's how people degrade you. They call you an Abner kid or something like that. But I mean, Sean does great stuff for the AM community. So I mean,
Shit, I'll be an Abner
call him
kid,
what you
man.
want, right?
I'll gain some followers real quick. Give us some shout outs or something. Anyway, some of the other big games throughout the weekend, like I mentioned earlier in the show, obviously FaZe, they weren't able to make it to the finals. Everyone was very upset about it. They kicked off their day with a match against DT. It wasn't much of an issue. They lost the S&D, but that was it. The rest of the games they took more than convincingly. They won the first hard point by 70 points. They won uplink by 8. The second hard point by like 20. Um, so yeah, that wasn't a big deal. What really got them was denial. I don't know if they just didn't expect denial to come out this strong, or if they just weren't having a good day. I'm gonna lean towards probably they didn't expect denial to come out that strong, um, because I mean it's just such a fantastic run by denial, and they performed so well throughout the whole weekend. When we were doing predictions on Thursday, I had no clue that this team was going to come out and do this good. Obviously, when you have Hugh and Temp and these guys who have been playing great all year on the team, you expect something out of them, but I didn't expect a T2 finish. And I definitely wouldn't have predicted they would have been the team to take out FaZe. But again, final event of the year, and everyone wants FaZe and Optic in the final, so of course that just can't happen. Um, it's just how it works.
Yeah, nobody was doubting their talent at all. It's just kind of like if you go off the recent performances, FaZe and Optic were by far 1 and 2 coming into this event. Everybody kind of felt, and that's what everybody wanted. It didn't happen, but I mean, you shouldn't be disappointed with the Optic Denial matchup. I mean, Denial was playing great all event. They earned their spot there, and like we said earlier, all these games with Optic were close, very close. Um, you know, if they take this one best of 7, we go into a second one, and who knows what happens from there.
And that's rough. I mean, it's hard to call a lot of these games. It really is. I don't know too many people would have been able to predict all the games this weekend.
If anybody says they were 100% right predicting, they're not telling the truth.
Obviously, there's some Justice fans out there, and people have watched them perform well and do this before. But to expect them to go through open bracket, make it into pool play, pretty much win their pool, go through and dominate through bracket play, I wouldn't have expected it. I don't know too many people in the chat who expected it. I think maybe one person when we were doing our prediction show said, "Yeah, Justice is going to make a run. Watch out for it." So yeah, Black Mo just asked us what our thoughts on ON are. ON again, not a great performance.
Yeah.
I don't think this has been their game. Advanced Warfare is not really good for any of them. They had none of those players on that roster have had any good moments early this year. Obviously, some nice plays, but no really amazing performances. I'm hoping Black Ops 3 they could do a lot better. I don't think that team's roster is going to look anything like it does right now next year, though. Embos will obviously probably stay because, well, it's Embos and everyone in Optic loves them. And he'll probably try to put a team together. But I don't see that roster being what it is right now or anything near it. Just my thoughts, though.
No, I agree completely. And on Thursday night when we did our first show, we kind of talked about it, how everybody likes the players on Optic Nation. They're all good guys. Everybody likes them. But it just hadn't been working this year. And they kept, making one change here, one change there, trying to, find that piece to spark them. And it just never happened. So, I mean, what they finished here was kind of what I was expecting them to. Maybe getting a little bit higher. I think they got 9th through 12th, if I'm not mistaken. If they would have got top 8, I wouldn't have surprised me either. But that would have been probably the top I saw them getting.
Yeah, and I think those players all wanted to do well. And Payne just said in the chat, Miracle showed up to play this weekend, and I'm sure they all wanted to do well. But again, this has not been their game, like I already said a bunch of times, and I don't mean to be repetitive on it. But again, Prodigy made a good point. Miracles always shows up to play, and Miracles is probably the best player on Optic Nation for AW. And I think a lot of people will agree with me. I don't think too many people will disagree. Black Mo said Embos just wants to play with friends. What do you think about that statement, Mike? Do you think that that's true, or do you think that Embos really cares about winning, at least in Advanced Warfare?
I mean, at this point in AW, I can't say yes or no, but I mean, it's hard to kind of, with the roster problems they had, try and put something together, grind this game out, care. Now I want to go into this last event and win it. But I don't doubt that he wants to win. I mean, if you're putting in the time, playing in the MLG league, scrimming however long they scrim at night, you still want to win regardless. Whether or not you're at that point where you're friends with somebody and you're like, listen, you're just not performing, you're gone. Trying to find that best person to fit in for him is a different story. And I don't know him well enough to kind of really speak for him, but I don't doubt that he wants to win. So.
All right, guys in the chat, let's do this question then. Do you think that Miracles would have had a lot better of a season if he was on a different team besides Optic Nation? Because I see a lot of you guys saying, Miracles is one of the best ever. He always shows up to play. So what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think he would have a better season if he was on a different team? Let us know.
Yeah.
So the Crucial said, do you think Miracles deserves to be on Optic Gaming? Does he deserve it? Sure. Is he on that level of the players in Optic Gaming? I mean, you have to think about it. You have Scump, Crim6, Formal, and Karma, arguably the top four Slayers or the top four players in the game at any point. I don't think that he would be able to keep up with them all the time. Or, I don't know how they would fit.
It's also a different play style, yeah. I mean, you could go down the list on COD players who deserves to be on that top team. You can name probably 10, 12 people who deserve to finish first every event. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work that way. You don't always get what you deserve. It's timing. It's the connections you've made because even if you're good, somebody else might be right around as good as you. But if they have the connections there, their friends are there, he's probably going to get picked up before you. So I mean, you don't always get what you deserve at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean. So I'm going to say something really out there in a second that I'm probably going to get hate for. And I'm going to give you, Mike, a chance to guess what it is. So take a guess what you think I'm going to say.
I have no idea. You say a lot of stuff you shouldn't say, so let's go ahead and hear it. And I'll rebuttal afterwards.
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to get a lot of hate from any Optic fans in the chat. But like you said about deserving things and deserving to be on a top team, just because Optic won the final event does not mean that those players individually are the best in the game. Are they top players 100%? However, FaZe and that roster have accomplished just as much, in my mind, as Optic Gaming has. You have two of the players win COD champs. Enable was on Optic Gaming for 2 or 3 of their event wins this season, helped them get the wins there. Zuma's played all around all year, great player. So that team is very talented, and honestly, each one of those players individually, I think, can match up against FaZe.
No, I don't think that statement is all out there. I mean, it's 100% right on. I mean, it comes down to it. Okay, yes, like if you're ranking the top 10 players, without a doubt, all 4 of Optic is in there, in my opinion, at least. But it comes down to they've actually stuck together. They've stuck it out. They've got chemistry together now, and I feel, at the end of AW, every roster locked in right now, Optic has the best roster. You guys can argue, a team won this event, a team won that event. I'm just talking purely right now. I would say they have the best teamwork, chemistry, players, and that 3 together should equal wins.
Benzie just said, just saying Optic Gaming has not beat FaZe on LAN before. I always like watching those two match up, and I don't even feel right comparing them. But I think a lot of people, earlier, especially on Twitter, in ESM mentions, were bitching, like, see, FaZe sucks, they aren't good. No! FaZe is, in my mind, still the second best team in Advanced Warfare, and all the players have accomplished just as much and can probably keep up with Optic Gaming. Enable is one of the best in the game. Clayster is always the hype man. He's a good in-game leader. He knows how to keep his team motivated. That team is almost equal with Optic Gaming, in my mind.
No, with what Benzie's saying there, true. However true it may be, but it happens in every sport, event, tournament. You and another team matching up together, they may beat you, but there's going to be events where you don't even play them. For instance, the way FaZe plays, Optic may not just know how to counter it. They may not know how to react to it. Fortunate for them, I guess. Denial took care of them. So at that point, Denial earned that spot to fight for the top spot. They couldn't pull it out, but Optic took it.
We really have the chat going here.
That's the whole purpose of this chat.
Yep,
Now,
yep.
now, honestly, if it would have been FaZe Optic in the finals,
Okay.
me and Josh both talked about this on Thursday. If it was FaZe Optic, we both said FaZe would win. Now, I'm not going to deny that because I still think that would happen. If FaZe was playing them,
okay. Here is my thought on this. If FaZe and Optic played in the finals, watching Optic this weekend, I'm gonna have to change my prediction in some sense.
But you also got to think, if FaZe made it to the finals, you wouldn't be down thinking on FaZe right now because they would have played better.
If and only if, in my mind, FaZe was able to come through the winners bracket, and Optic dropped down the losers and had to play them in the grand finals, then I think FaZe would have won. But I don't think FaZe would have been able to win 2 best-of-7s against Optic again. I don't think Optic would ever let that happen. I think that they definitely figured out what they were doing wrong. And with Karma sniping and doing what he feels comfortable with in S&D, I don't think FaZe would have been able to match that, especially not in 2 best-of-7s. If it was just one, I think FaZe would have been able to, for sure. So again, it's a back and forth, really. Chat, what do you think? If FaZe and Optic played this weekend, who would it be? Who would
me and Josh can go back for probably an hour fighting over this, or who could win, who couldn't win. Somebody in the chat said the reason Optic lost is in Columbus is because Karma didn't play as well as he could have. Yes, it happens. But who's not to say they played this event and Krim had a bad series versus them, or vice versa, Zuma had a bad series, Clayster, whoever it may have been. It's kind of hard to sit here and predict something that didn't happen when you don't know scenarios.
So our best friend in ESN in the world, D-Nades, just tweeted, "Does COD need a salary cap?"
COD need a salary cap?
Yes, that's what he asked us on Twitter.
Depends on what you're capping it at here, I guess, my friend.
I mean, and one of the guys in the chat said the COD salaries are so low, it doesn't even matter.
That's. I mean, I don't know player salaries, team salaries. I don't know what they pay their players. I don't think we're anywhere close to being at that range where we want to cap what we're paying somebody.
I know. I think we should. I think we should definitely cap it at like $5 monthly.
$5 and pay your expenses to events. All right, gotcha.
Yeah, so you should just rep a team name for free. Like, you should pay them the rep, actually.
Right.
And buy your own jersey. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and like Jamie just said, it's so hard to predict that FaZe Optic thing because there's so many variables. And it is. It's just all, us fighting for who we think is going to win, who we're fans of. That's why we do this show, because I don't agree with Hype very much. He doesn't agree with me.
Whoa.
And there's always people in the chat who disagree with us. So it keeps things going and keeps things interesting.
So the Crucial said, talk about Classic and how well he did this event. I think that's very good point. Classic played extremely well this event. And you haven't really seen him do that much this year. But he was definitely an in-game leader. He definitely played solid. He was able to pick up kills. And he played like a wild man. Like, I haven't seen him play that well, I don't think, all year.
In a while, yeah. I mean, it was surprising that, like, when we're doing our predictions, that's a variable we don't take into consideration because we haven't seen it much. Mm-hmm. And, it's a huge difference with him doing that compared to him not doing that.
OMG Encore said that includes you too, Josh. Josh Riley's salary paid $5 a week.
All right, I'll take care of him, boys. Don't worry. I got this. Contract will be sent over after the show, Josh.
Yeah? Dang, I'm getting a raise, boys! No, I'm just messing. Yeah, I would cry if I was making $5 a week salary. That was all just a joke. Yeah, so the Woolly Mammoth just said OG played their best versus FaZe and Gfinity. Gfinity was one of my favorite events of the year because there were so many good teams there, and it was a very wide variety of teams. Even though European teams don't often aren't able to stack up often with NA teams, I always love when they're at the event because it really changes things up, and it gives them opportunity to maybe gain some fans. Because honestly, the European community needs more people involved in it. It needs more people who care about it, and they need people to actually watch it. I could go on for hours and hours why I think that there isn't a lot of viewership there and why teams aren't active there, but I won't. A lot of people will say it's because of the game sucking. or the game not being up to standards of what it was. Um,
Are you talking about just Europe in general right
yeah,
now?
yeah,
Oh, I mean that. I mean it's always been like that for, excuse me, what since end of Modern Warfare 3, basically. I mean,
yeah. But there used to be some more teams active back then too.
well, that's also if you guys remember Modern Warfare 3, the only North American events for COD were UMGs. Nobody else was holding tournaments here. So, if you wanted to compete, you had to go over to Europe,
Yeah.
to whichever event they were doing.
I think my biggest problem or thought with the European community why there isn't viewership there, and I know this is completely off topic, but I'm going to go into it anyway. Um, the players don't produce enough content, right? I think that producing custom content is a big part of gaining fans in Call of Duty. And I think streaming on Twitch or on MLG or whatever and doing YouTube is the only way you're going to be able to gain fans. I don't think playing well as a European at a European event is going to get you more fans because chances are anyone who's watching the event already follows you on Twitter anyway, and already watches your stuff. But if you go on YouTube and you produce funny skits, funny content, and you're a streamer that's interactive with the chat, you could build up fans over time, and then those fans will watch you play at events. And not many European COD players do it. Very few actually produce any content. I know Marky B has a channel, and he does some stuff. Tommy here and there, he might post something. Gotaga is the only active, really YouTuber that does competitive Call of Duty in Europe, and he has a million some subscribers.
Yeah.
So it's working for him. I think people need to copy a model of producing funny interactive content and just go through completely and hopefully gain some fans, gain some viewers. Um, Again, it's not all of the issues, but I think it is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, kind of getting back on point, Juice Wag just said unless Black Ops 3 does well, COD is on the decline. Uh, my personal opinion, Black Ops 3 is make or break. It's taking COD to, not nearly NCS level, League of Legends level, nothing like that, but it'll push it in the right direction. I honestly feel the last 2 years we've been hovering, at that plateau that Black Ops 2 set us at, and slowly declining little by little. That's my opinion. People are going to disagree with me and whatnot, but that's how I feel at least. Because when it comes to watching Call of Duty, I used to love watching Black Ops 2, and Josh can attest to this. I haven't watched COD in almost 2 years. I watched this event because we started the show back up, so it gave me a reason to. But if I have free time and I don't have nothing to do, I'm not going to turn on, a tournament.
So a few questions came up. Jay Dodway asked, "Why is this on Twitch?" Basically, we've done the show on Twitch since it originally started a few years back, and we wanted to continue the show where it started, to continue with the fan base that was there. Obviously, a lot of the people who watched Late Night back in Black Ops 2 and even the beginning of Ghost aren't around in the community anymore, simply because fans die out and the game isn't exactly what it is or what it was back then. So yeah, we wanted to do it on here because we do feel that the fans enjoy the platform a lot more, and the chat is a lot better for interaction in our opinion. So that's why we're on here and not another platform.
Yeah, the Crucial said this tournament had close to 100,000 viewers during the finals. It's a decent number, but it's not nothing to what they used to pull. It's not nothing to what they should be pulling.
Not at all.
And we can argue all day on why that is, but we'll probably leave that for another discussion one night, so we get a little bit more in detail. But you see in 100,000, you think it's huge numbers. Could be a lot bigger.
Another question, NSG94 asked, "Is MLG going to be on the Xbox?" I believe I'm going to assume you're talking about competitive Call of Duty next year. Competitive Call of Duty is moving to PlayStation as a whole. So major events will be on the PlayStation, and a lot of any COD champs or the Call of Duty World League events will be on PlayStation as well. As far as anything else, there's not really much announcements. There isn't a lot of announcements as far as who's hosting what.
Yeah, they keep hush hush for right now.
So yeah, but I would expect some announcements, and this is a big point as well. With the final Advanced Warfare event done, I would expect some announcements to be coming out in the next week or two. Just my thought. I don't know anything. I don't have any intel. Hashtag intel. But no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's they're keeping it quiet for now. Massive over here dropping some hints, following some Twitters, doing a little seeking himself. But
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, people are talking about where COD ranks in esports right now. Um,
Okay, so Black Mo said, "Who's bigger uh, than Call of Duty?" I mean, you can go in so many directions with this. So you have League of Legends, you have Counter Strike, you have Dota, you have
you could
oh
put
god,
Hearthstone up there.
Hearthstone, arguably. Um, eh,
That's the
there.
whole problem. The whole problem with Call of Duty is it gets decent numbers like you were talking about earlier when events are on. All right, but for instance, I can't remember who it was, but when Denial was playing, believe it was Elevate. Um, Somebody tweeted out that Cutie Pie, who is a League of Legends streamer, if you guys don't know, had over half the people watching him just stream, him casually playing,
Mhm.
than what were watching the stream at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can say Smash, Smash is just kind of coming back, um, but I say give Smash a little bit of time and it'll pass up COD unless Black Ops 3 takes off.
Um, yeah, yeah. Smash is definitely been on the rise, right? Um, and if you look at you have to look at COD or any esports in a few ways. You have to look at it where the business aspect of it is, where the professional aspect of it is, and where the viewership is. COD viewership arguably might be number 4 or 5, right? Which is not great, but it is what it is for major events. That is. Um, when you look at the business end of it, COD is horrible, right? Not many teams have contracts. None of them are able to enforce them, the ones that do, and not many pay salaries. When you look at professionalism, it's even worse, right? No professional organizations are coming into Call of Duty. Everyone that was here is bailed out. Evil Genius's complexity. In all honesty, the business end and professionalism is more so in Halo, even though the viewership is bad over there. Um, Halo is more professional than Call of Duty. They have all the professional esports orgs. Pretty much everyone you could think of besides like TSM is over there. And Envy, I guess now you could say because they've really expanded. They have they have a number 1 Smite team. They have a top 5 CS team. They have a top
Their
8
Gears
COD
team.
team. They
Yeah.
just picked up one of the number 1 Gears teams. But yeah, Halo is in a better spot in professionalism terms than Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will doubt that. And there's many reasons that are for that. It's just, I guess, too much to kind of go into without publicly coming at somebody saying it's their fault in a sense. So we won't do that.
Yeah. Well. Speaking of Gears, Envy and Swarm are actually playing for a match to qualify for the Gears Pro League at the moment.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I just saw that now. But anyway.
Yeah, and people don't forget, we're talking about Halo numbers not being great, so we put COD above Halo right now in terms of I guess esports in general. However you want to judge it, but Halo's doing crowdfunding. Halo has a bunch of stuff going on. You know, who knows how big that number gets? If they get a tournament for $5 million, you're gonna see people like Form will start looking at Halo a little bit closer.
Here's the thing, right? So they already announced that the main tournament will be $1 million, and crowdfunding will be involved. They didn't say how. They didn't.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They didn't say what will be for sale. But realistically, who in Halo or how many people in Halo are going to buy something that is specifically to fund a competitive tournament?
You'd be surprised. Let me cut you off real quick just to answer that point, then you can continue. People who are League of Legends fans or Counter-Strike fans, with League of Legends Worlds going on right now, Cloud9 and all that stuff when the first week was going on, you saw their org retweeting tweets that says, I have no idea what's going on with League of Legends, but I bought this to support him because I'm a Counter-Strike fan. And I'm assuming there'll be a ton of that in Halo. If major orgs are involved, people are going to get on and support it regardless. They could just be a casual Halo player or whatever, be like, oh wow, there's a Cloud9 thing here, I'm going to go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, I guess, but it's a lot different in that aspect, right? Because people who are fans of Cloud9,
we're also talking console here, though, so that could be a huge problem.
Exactly. Who has all these people aren't going to buy a console. They're not going to buy a $60 game, and they're not going to also buy a $10 or $20 thing or whatever it is, right? Whereas if you're a fan of Cloud9, You could download League of Legends and buy a $5 sticker, or same with Counter Strike, however much it is, and it's not a big deal. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
It's based off microtransactions, like somebody said, but we don't know what those are. We don't know, are they going to release, a helmet with a team logo on it, or whatever it may be at this point. That's what we're kind of getting
In
at.
my honest opinion, I don't see them selling more than 20,000 of whatever. A normal Halo event for the grand finals gets anywhere between 22 to 25,000, maybe 30,000 if you're really pushing it. Um, so in my mind, there might be 50 or 60,000 total people who watch competitive Halo, and maybe 20,000 of those are hardcore fans that would actually buy something to support the scene, just specifically to support the scene. Maybe another 5,000 you could argue would buy it because they're fans of a team or whatnot. So even if you're selling something for $5 and half of it is going towards it, you half of so you have 25,000 times five. That's 125,000. You divide it by half, and you get like 62.5 thousand. I don't see it going up much from crowdfunding, in my honest opinion.
Well, Stimmus just Activision put $3 million in COD, and it's still one of the biggest games out there. Casuals just don't know any of competitive COD. That's the problem. That's always been COD's biggest problem, and always will. Major titles that are more successful than COD, they're all PC based, and that's also a big part of it, of course. But it's out of the box. It's out of you download League of Legends. You don't have to change any settings. There's nothing different from when you go in and play with your friends to competitive. That's why you enjoy it. Same with Counter Strike for the most part. All those. And we've talked about that many times, even 2 years ago. Out of the box is huge. Yeah. It'll never happen because there are. I don't know. I think it's gone up. What do you think? Casual to competitive is now 80-20?
The percentage of people?
Yeah, like 80% casual, 20% competitive.
No.
You don't think it's that?
Oh, no way. So, I talked about this on Thursday, I think. A recent study came out from Forbes. There's 30 million active Call of Duty players around the world right now. And around, I think it was 30 or 40% of those are on the current edition of Call of Duty. So you figure there's over 10 million, maybe 12, 15 million people playing the current Call of Duty, right? There is no way in hell that 20% of 15 million plays competitive or are fans of competitive. I would say the numbers are closer to 95.5, if we're being completely honest. I don't know if there's more than 1 million fans of competitive Call of Duty.
Yeah, and Stemmis brought up another point about them putting in-game viewer into their game, so it'll reach the casuals. That's fine. But I don't think it turns much. I don't think the casual player who happens to see Optic playing Denial is going to make them...
And the thing is, too, the live event viewer is on there, but they still have to click. They still have to decide if they want to watch this. It's not like you hop into the game and it's already playing on your screen. It's not like you're forced to watch it. It's, an option to choose. And not many people who are hopping on Call of Duty are going to say, oh, yeah, let me watch these dudes play COD real quick. No, they want to hop on. They want to play some free-for-alls or TDMs, and they want to get the hell off.
Yeah, and a lot of people play that game just, hey, I have a 2.4 KDA. Hey, I have the best hardpoint score in pubs. That's how most people view this game when you're looking at the larger majority of the players.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm afraid for.
I'll use this as an example. I'll throw my son in there as an example. He plays Call of Duty. So I'm on the 360, Black Ops 2, Ghost occasionally. I have to yell at him, but and Advanced Warfare. He knows one organization that's in COD, and that's FaZe. And how does he know about FaZe? Watching their YouTube video. Watching their trick sniping and all that stuff. So I don't think the casual person who's playing the game cares enough about competitive at all. Like, if he's watching a tournament with me, he's like, why aren't they just no-scoping and quick-scoping? I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They don't know, right? Like, no one who plays... Even friends, when I was still in high school, I would, I wasn't very public about everything I did in the COD community. Everyone just knew that I played COD and I did gaming for, some of my living. and for my job. So everyone would, be like, well, fine, let's play. So I would play, and, they'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to bring my clan in. We're going to have a clan battle. And I'm like, all right. So, I would invite random friends to my friends list, and we would, we would double stun nade, and we would just sit on head glitches and everything, and they'd be sitting there shooting RPGs and noob tubes and quick scoping, and you're getting called, a female genital, and, called, every name in the book, and it's like, why aren't you quick scoping? Why aren't you using a noob tube? It's like, because that's not what you do in competitive. That's not what good people do, and it just doesn't register in their brain. They have absolutely no clue whatsoever. Um, so the gap is definitely huge there, just based on how people play.
Yeah, and somebody asked why was Black Ops 2 so popular. Then it was a great game. It was fun to play. It was fun to watch. Maps were made, in my opinion, almost perfect. Some of them were in terms of the game modes. Score streaks, I think, helped as well. It was a lot more intense to watch. Like when I'm watching AW, I'm like, all right, he's going to kill that guy. And then all of a sudden, he jetpacks 4 stories in the air and rockets backwards and, lands on the guy's head and kills him. And I'm just like, what was that? That stuff just doesn't entertain me. And I'm assuming it probably doesn't entertain most of the people out there.
Yeah. Even a lot of people I know who play W, like just casual friends of mine, they don't enjoy playing Call of Duty. Like my brother was at the house today talking about, COD and whatnot, and he said, yeah, that it's I can't stand this jetpacking, jumping in the air crap. And he's like, I hate it, and all of my friends hate it too. And everyone I know says, I don't like this. I like the old way COD is, And a lot of my buddies are, back playing MW2 and Black Ops 2 and all this stuff, and it's like, well, how could you have gone so wrong so quickly?
That's what happens when you have multiple titles producing games every year. One has their vision on how things should be, the other has their vision, and then their visions are nothing alike. One of them stands out, that much more.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to, me and Josh are each making a game in a year apart. I have a vision, he has a vision. They're completely different things. At the end of the day, one of us is going to be a genius and one's going to be an idiot. That's a little bit harsh, but you get my point.
Yeah, we all know who the genius is going to be, and we also know who the idiot's going to be.
Rip.
GG, WP.
Yeah, and like somebody in the chat said, Ghost greater than AW. I hated Ghost. I absolutely hated Ghost. AW came out. I was like, I wish Ghost was back.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing and watching Ghosts at least 2 times more than I do AW. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with Ghosts, but in all honesty, I think if Ghosts and Infinity Ward were able to fix the bomb glitch, then Ghosts would have been an overall better game than AW. You could disagree, but...
And that brings me to another point. We're not going to talk about much, but I just want to touch on it real quick, is the dev support. We have dev support. They're willing to help. They're willing to help put things in. But, there are so many things that we went through a full year of AW that weren't fixed. The spot on Detroit and Garage. And I don't know, on Uplink where you could throw balls and it would sit there for 10, 15 seconds and that's how long it took to reset. I don't know if that was purpose, but I feel that's something that should have been fixed right off the bat. I saw today a bunch of different teams, they just grabbed the, uplink or whatever and just throw in the spot, do it again the next time it spawned up, and, a minute's gone. Nobody has a chance to do anything.
Yeah, that's true as well. Someone in the chat actually asked us to talk about Optic going to Black Ops 3. If they don't make a roster change, do we think they'll stay the same, as in like winning almost all the events? Do we think they'll go down? Where do we think Optic will go from here, based on what we know of Black Ops 3 so far?
I mean, this is assuming all the rosters stay as is, because you can't start predicting roster changes and how they'll do against a set team. So, I mean, if rosters stayed the same, I honestly feel they would always be a top 3 team, at worst, in Black Ops 3. I mean, of course, stuff can happen. They can finish an event outside top 3 or whatever. But I think they would always be a contender to win the event, without a doubt.
I agree. Yeah. I think if they keep this roster, I don't see them losing too many events. I definitely think they'll be in the finals of the first event, and they'll probably win the first event. From there, it'll just depend on rosters and how they change. Actually, I'm lying. No, Aches will win the first event somehow,
Mm.
and then from there, Optic will win the second, third, fourth, and so on. And then Optic will lose champs again too because they just have to lose champs. Um, I hate it. I really do. I wish they would do better, but just it is what it is.
Somebody said the long reset was meant to be like that. I mean, if it was meant to be, I mean, I guess don't change it, but I don't see a reason for it. I mean, to me, it kills any potential flow the game may be having.
I mean, I understand the strategic aspects of it, right? Like if your team is able to control the ball and you could throw it out and you have the lead, then you're kind of buying yourself time and securing your win. But I definitely think it slows down the game and makes it boring for that time limit there.
I mean,
Um,
I just feel it should be instant. Like, I mean, I come from originally Halo, so when you play oddball, your team had to protect you if you were holding it, and if they died, you just had to throw the ball off. The game's a little bit different, of course. You have to throw it, score, differently. But I mean, if you throw the ball off the map, I feel it should just come back right away.
yeah, yeah. I'm even cool with like a 3 or 5 second delay, but
Something
like
smaller and an improvement, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Obviously it's the end of the year and there's so many things we could bitch at. Even next year when we get to Black Ops 3, there'll be so many things we could bitch at. You know what I mean?
Well,
So.
I think we went off topic a little bit too much tonight. I do want to end the show with one question, however, though, in the chat. It's a two-part question.
Okay.
Who was the most, not necessarily who played the best, guys, but
Okay.
who was the most impressive player this weekend, and who do you think was the most disappointing player? Like, it doesn't have to be the worst player, but, you could have thought this person was going to go off, and they didn't go off, or, you didn't think this person was going to do well, and they absolutely played it off.
I'll start with mine. My surprise for the weekend in a good way was definitely Karma. Karma hasn't had too many standout moments this year. He's always played very well and very consistent, but nothing ever that really stands out. And him playing so well with the sniper this weekend was definitely huge. And also Hugh, obviously, he's always a top player, so he's not a
See,
surprise to me,
I
but he
wouldn't
definitely
say
did well.
I expect him to pull that. I mean that's I mean I may be putting too much on him, but I expect that out of him every time I watch him play. Slack's mine, at least for impressive.
Okay.
You know, unimpressive. I don't know. I mean, there was a few people on phase I don't think played nearly up to what they should have played up to. Well, not necessarily that, but what we've seen them play up to, so we know they can do it.
At least,
Yeah. hmm
yeah, a lot of you guys are saying Clay Surfer unimpressive.
Also,
Um,
as well up there being talked about.
Who?
Epsilon, just Epsilon
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, as a whole. As far as unimpressive for me player wise, I'm gonna have to go with like probably Aches. Not I didn't even watch any of Aches games, but I would have liked him to do better this event as a whole. He might have done great as a player. I don't know, but I just wish his team would have placed better. Um, any of you guys in the chat who know me personally know that I'm a fan of Aches as a player, and I always have been. So yeah,
Yeah, people are saying they need more from Nameless on, Nameless over there. I mean, to be honest, unimpressive. We can go on and on and on and on, but
a lot of people were unimpressive. It all depends who you're a fan of too, right?
yeah,
Like if you're not a fan of
like, I'm a fan of TK.
yeah.
I don't want to say anything negative against them. I'm a fan, but there were players on that team that could have played a lot better than what they did.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like that for everybody.
but it is what it is, guys. We're gonna kind of be wrapping up the show here in a minute. If you guys have any questions in the chat you'd like us to address real quick before the end, let us know. We'll take maybe 1 or 2 chat questions before we kind of wrap this up. Please make them quick ones though, because we don't want to do a long show. While we wait for those to come in, I just kind of want to explain to you what we're going to be doing from here with ESM Late Night and where the plan is going forward. So going forward, we plan to host shows every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. If schedules change for whatever reason, we'll be sure to let everyone know. But you could look forward to seeing us live on those days. We'll really be having more scheduled discussion, more formatted, and topics coming in. Hopefully Tuesday we'll have some guests from able to come on once they get back from the event and kind of relax a bit. So we'll see about that. I'm sure the first show back we'll kind of be talking about a little bit of Advanced Warfare and recap if anyone has anything they want to bring up. But a lot of it, I'm sure, will be looking forward to Black Ops 3, talk about 18 plus, go over what we know about the COD World League, and kind of discuss from there. So we are looking forward to having all you guys in the chat and discussing with us because reading your opinions and talking with you guys is really what matters to us. So. Um, Let's do this. Here's one of the questions I want to read. Thoughts on Envy's performance? What do you expect from them in Black Ops 3? I'm rather impressed with their performance this weekend. I think the Jerd and Gunjar were good pickups for them. And going into Black Ops 3, I would hope for them to be able to be a number one team again.
Yeah, do you think Jerd stays with Envy?
No, I don't. He'll be back with TCM for sure for
I don't think TCM
Black
has
3
a
in my
roster
mind.
right now, though.
Huh?
I don't think TCM even has a roster at this time.
Well, no, they don't. But I think that he'll probably go back to TCM as an org. But
Sure.
as far as Envy, I know they'll probably have a different roster, and I think they're going to need a different roster going into Black Ops 3. But I would want to see them as a T3 team throughout the whole year. Envy definitely deserves that. They have a top team in every other game that they're in. And I think that they deserve it for COD. So I hope that they're able to. What are your thoughts, Mike?
On Envy?
Yeah.
I don't see them making changes outside, of course, Jerd, who's not really on Envy. Unless somebody on that roster gets an offer from somewhere else. You know how the COD community is. But I like their roster. I think getting them together a little bit longer, and they could push things forward and actually be a top team in this game. I hope they don't make changes. Is what I guess I'm trying to say.
All right. The last question we're going to take. Instead of BO3 being make or break, do you think it can lead to a better future for esports?
Absolutely. But I also think it could crush COD esports.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I know you said you don't want it to be make or break, but it really is.
Absolutely.
If Black Ops 3 is successful, it could push us forward to past where we were in Black Ops 2. But it all depends on the first few events, how the game works, how the viewership takes to it. But yes, Black Ops 3 can 100% push Call of Duty into the top 3 esports in my mind. I think we could definitely pass Hearthstone in popularity. I think we could definitely pass.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. Top 4. Top 4.
It'll push us to where we want to go.
Yes.
But COD can't take another year of having a bad game where pros are tweeting out, "This is stupid. This sucks. Why are we playing this?" Because if you don't think sponsors and outside people looking to come in check that and see that, they're like, "Wait a minute, you're on the one of the best teams in the game, and this is how you feel." Yeah, I'm not even going to bother coming in with this.
Why would you? You know what I mean? There's no point. Any pros do you think will make a return? Aceman Axe. From my knowledge, Merc plans on trying to find a team. Sensor announced he'll be coming back for Black Ops 3. Rambo, he's working with Sledgehammer and Call of Duty as a whole, I believe. So I doubt he'll be coming back anytime soon. I'm pretty sure he's done. And Nadeshot released in a video that as of now he doesn't plan on coming back, but he hasn't made up an official decision yet. So yeah, Aches and TP.
TP will be back for sure.
Yeah, Aches will probably be back as well. I don't know if they'll be teaming together or not, but yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. Cubby, yeah.
All
right.
We're going to kind of be wrapping this up here, guys. I want to thank everyone for coming in the chat and discussing with us. I know we didn't discuss the MLG Finals too much, but again, we get off topic, and we really let the chat decide where the discussion goes. What you guys want to talk about is what we talk about. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming. The VOD of this show will be on YouTube later tonight, if not tomorrow morning at the earliest. If any of you guys want to rewatch, if you're just joining us, to be able to catch all that stuff on there. And the channel is youtube.com/esportsnationtv. Mike, any final thoughts?
Yo, this guy just said Moho's coming back.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez. Moho, if you're out there, you got me blocked, homie. Thanks. So, guys, we'll be back on Tuesday, correct, Josh?
Yep, we will.
Tuesday, guys. We'll have a couple topics. Of course, we'll discuss throughout the show. But just like tonight, it is all basically, we touch on what we want to touch on, and then, we let you kind of guide the conversation.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you. As always, I'm Josh Riley. Have a good night.
Peace, guys.